Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio. And welcome to another edition of Happy Hour. As always, if you're choosing to drink or whatever you're doing, please do so responsibly. Samantha, what are you sipping on?
I just have a good old cold water.
Ooh.
Yes.
Nice. I have a light beer because my refrigerator, once again, is a disaster. I need to clear some space. I'm desperate.
Every time.
I know. And a part of this is I am about to go back to the beach. And so a lot of this is left over from the beach. So I feel like it's only
you're
going
to take it with you, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take it with me. But I feel like it's like a boulder. It's like building up. It's getting worse and worse. But yeah, we are preparing. I am preparing to go to the beach. So we're recording a lot today. This is a actual happy hour that I've had on the docket for a while, but kept getting delayed. And it's just a brief update on my fan fiction and how my experience has been. Because there's been some twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. I will say, speaking of the beach, a good friend of mine, Katie, did find my username. She found it. She looked everything up. And then she came to me later when she was a little tipsy and said, look, I would have supported you no matter what, but I didn't think you were going to have a lot of reviews. But you do. And I'm really impressed. And I was like,
So you're both vindicated, but okay. Embarrassed, kind of. Not embarrassed, but.
Well, it was funny because she just got it in her head. She had to know. And I was like, why? You don't care. This is not a thing you would read or a thing you would like. But she gets her mind set on something, and it was set. And I kept trying to distract her or convince her of something like, let's go do this instead.
Oh, no.
But she would not let it go. And I would say within 20 minutes, she found it. Love it. I have long said it's not difficult. But she did within 20 minutes for sure. Darn it.
I love it.
And I was thinking about this, not that she would do it, but it was the start of last year, right? We did a lot of technology episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about the ways people can stalk you. And I was thinking about, like, if someone knew your fan fiction handle, then they would know in theory where you are, what you're doing when you post. So it does give me a little anxiety. And I do think a listener has found me. I don't know. Maybe. I think so. It just makes me a little nervous. But I do get a lot of reviews, okay?
But you're all that. That's what she said.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. But I did have a moment, and I thought about that, and I think we should come back because we never did our Venmo episode, which I really want to come back and talk about.
The Venmo stalking episode?
Yes.
I am guilty of that. Mm-hmm. I've learned a lot of things.
Well,
thanks to Venmo.
I have another friend who knows my fan fiction handle. And you know this about me, Samantha. Sometimes my whole weekend is based on I just want to write fan fiction. And so if she invites me to something and I say, no, I'm busy, she will know if it's a fan fiction related reason because you can sign up to get updates whenever anybody, posts something. And again, like, I can be honest with her and I could just say, today I just want to write fan fiction. But there's just something about it where it's like, she just knows that now. I can't hide that.
Right.
Yeah. So I do want to come back and talk about that. We've got a lot of back burner, like Goodreads we wanted to come talk about. But fan fiction was a new one where now I'm like, oh, I could see how people could stalk you through this. And there are a lot of instances, Samantha, of like sometimes an author will be in a relationship with another author and then they break up. And I'm always like, wow. I saw one go horribly wrong once where the other person tried to delete their story. And then the other person like had to repost all of it and was like, this actually mattered to me and you can't just delete it. I was like,
oh my.
Well, so I feel like I'm pretty established now. People know who I am when I update. Not to like, in my corner of the woods, they know who I am. And I used to have this like really intense schedule. And I would be like, okay, once a week, I'm going to do this. Every other week, 2 of this. And that's just fallen by the wayside because I was doing it for a while. But real life comes in, you know, and the time gets sucked up. So it's been interesting for me because I always turn things into work. That I turned it into such a, here's a spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet of like what you're going to write and when you're going to write it and when you're going to upload it, and when you're going to edit it. And that's fallen off the wayside. That is not what is happening anymore. Now it's like if I'm lucky if I can find like an hour here or there to do it, and in that hour not be exhausted from doing all of my other stuff. I do love the community of it. I've gotten art. People have done art. They've done other stories based on what I've written. But one of the things I wanted to really talk about here, and I'm not going to get into it, but I have a story where there's a love triangle, Samantha, and I can't believe this is happening. I did not intend for it to unfold this way, but I basically created a character I thought everyone would hate. They love him. And I don't know what to do about it.
Right. And you can't stand him.
Oh, well, at first everybody hated him, which was what I intended. And then I was like, well, okay. I can't have them like just hate him. It's got to be a bit more. I need a bit more flavor than that, or else like, hopefully that listener who found me isn't listening, or else like the end isn't going to have the same oomph that I want it to have. But then, so I've tried to make him nicer and like more relatable. And now people like him. I backpedaled too hard, Samantha. so now people are like shipping him, who's a character I made up, with Luke. And I don't know what to do because the next chapter is due tomorrow, actually. And I can't, like, I was writing it last night and I was like, well, I wrote this like beautiful speech from this guy and I like it. But what am I doing here? I'm spending way too much time on this asshole. And not the couple where it's actually supposed to like end up and ship. But it was really fascinating because I didn't think everybody hated him. And then now people are writing in and they'll tell me these like reasons why they like him. And as someone who is asexual, I feel like I'm learning all kinds of things about what people see in relationships and what they like, that I was just like, oh, okay.
That wasn't what I was going for, but you do you.
It's so fascinating. I did it. Oh my gosh. And like people are fighting in the comments where they're like, actually, I think he was wrong. He was wrong here. I'm learning so much. And when I first started out, a comment like that, even if it wasn't mean, even if it was just like, oh, I like this guy more than that guy or whatever, I would have been like in my head and what have I done wrong? I can't write at all. But now I'm just kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Okay. but it has thrown a wrench in what I originally planned. Because now people like him too much to do what I was going to do originally.
Ruh-roh.
I really just want to, like, at the end of this, when I publish the final chapter, be like, this is what it was originally going to be. And then you guys changed my whole mind. And now, this happens to me in D&D all the time, though. That's kind of what I love, is the collaboration, though. It's like, I wasn't seeing it that way, but now that you say that, oh, that is a good point. I really enjoy it. In fact, there was a big cliffhanger. I thought it was a big cliffhanger. Everybody was like, it's this person, isn't it? And it wasn't that person, Samantha. I'm going to be honest with you. But when they were all like, it was this person, wasn't it? I was like, ah, damn. That's better than what I wrote. So I changed it.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
I love that. Do you hear that, listeners? You can change things.
You can. I'm open to it. I think that's great. I will admit, and this is an issue in a lot of media that I enjoy, including Star Wars. I will admit there is part of the problem is now the things that I had planned earlier no longer really apply because I changed the ending. I changed it. But it's nothing major. But that is an issue that I've been like, okay, wait, well, I had been planting this. Now I've got to go back and see if I can change it in one way or another. And I'm just going to tell you, it's not a surprise ending. Like, it was going to be, but now it's just obvious, and I have no issue with it. But I kind of like I like where I am now. When I first started, I was so anxious when I was publishing, but now I'm kind of like, yeah, you all knew it was that guy.
You all knew.
You all knew.
But it wasn't.
But it's been so interesting, especially like in the wake of us doing Twilight as our movie picks, which hopefully we're going to get to the next two soon. But it's just interesting to me that how much this turned into a love triangle, even though I really didn't mean it to. And how much of it is like, here's kind of your bad boy, and here's your like really nice guy. And I was like, whoa, even I have been, I didn't know this was going to happen to me when I was writing this fan fiction. But I love it. It's been great. I did run into, so in fan fiction, there's something called flames. That's when somebody really doesn't like what you do and they write something really mean. I haven't had that happen to me yet, but I did have somebody post a story that I could tell was targeted towards, at least in part towards me, and was not. It was very negative.
What?
Yeah. And that whole day I was like depressed.
Aww.
Because it's like where I go to escape from this hellscape.
Right.
But then like a day passed and I was like, all right, well, the problem is what makes me mad about it though is like there's a very, in my mind, important fan fiction tenet, which is don't like, don't read.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you don't like it. Got it.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, don't read it. That's fine. That's how it should be. And the sad thing is I like a lot of their stuff.
Oh.
But, oh well. It did mess me up for like a day. Yeah. Yeah. But it's okay. I moved on. Here I am. Yeah. And it's also something that it's been interesting because I feel like right now there's so many things in shift on the internet. And fan fiction is not immune. So there's been like updates of the AI guidelines. There's been updates on how they can use, how just in general your work can get used. And it's understandable but sad to me as someone who loves fan fiction that a lot of people have left because of that. And they're actually posting on Tumblr more, which we talked about Tumblr.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happening as well. There's just a lot of like shakeups happening where in my particular neck of the woods. But something else I found funny is that I over-explain everything. So at the end, you can have a note as an author and be like, hey, this is what I was trying to do here. This is what I was trying to do here. I feel like every review I get that's not negative, but like, I don't know about that, is about the author review, like the author's note. So I need to stop over-explaining things. It just cracks me up how many times I've been like, wow, I should have just not said that. Okay, cool. But usually the not said that is like, I think this character's coming from this place, and then people don't necessarily agree. Whatever. It's not like I'm the author. But whatever. Anyway, it's been a fascinating ride for me. It is weird that I have people in my life now that know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see how this love triangle goes. I mean, I would say I know how it's going to go because I'm the writer, but they keep changing my mind about it.
You thought you knew.
I did. I overcorrected. And now I feel like I'm doing a bad job of the actual relationship.
Oh.
I'm doing a great job at the like, somebody wrote, this is the most painful slow burn I've ever read. I'm doing a great job of like the pursuing and the misunderstanding.
Okay.
And some people have written in and said, I actually prefer that part. I don't like it when they finally get together. That's not interesting to me, which I get. But at a certain point, I mean...
At a certain point,
something's got to give. Otherwise, the idiots in love tag is just working way too hard.
Wow.
Yeah, Samantha, I'm telling you. I've got some thoughts. I've seen some things.
Seen some things, learned some things, got some things.
I really have. It's so interesting. I want to come back and do an episode about just some of the discourse I see. I talked about this very briefly in a happy hour a while ago, like a year ago. But some of the discourse I see around like, it's gotten a lot better, but around like asexuality and arrow people and Jedi, because I feel like sometimes people forget that like ace people exist. And so they'll be like, this is the saddest thing. Won't have a relationship. And I'm like, no. No. But here I am writing a love triangle. So I just have got some conflict I've got to figure out.
Whoopsie.
Yep. Whoopsie indeed. Whoopsie indeed. Well, thanks for hearing me out. Gosh, I gotta finish it tonight. I gotta post it tomorrow. The schedule. We'll see.
So much anxiety.
We'll see how they feel about it. Oh, when you get that notification of like someone's left a comment, it's panic. It's panic. But it's almost always nice. But yeah. Well, listeners, if you have any thoughts about this, please let us know. You can email us at stuffmediamomstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff One Never Told You. We're also on YouTube. We have a TeePublic store and we have a book you can get wherever you get your books, where I do talk about fan fiction. Thanks as always to our super producer Christina, our executive producer Maya, and our contributor Joey.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.